Rob from Mortgage Choice. Penrith
How are
Blue
you,
Mountains.
Rob?
Welcome, Rob.
I'm good. I'm very good. I don't think I've
good.
got any sound here on my headset. I don't know if you can
Maybe
correct
try
that.
a different one.
There we go. No,
Let's
I've got
try
it
a
now.
different- Oh, you have?
I think there's a bad connection there.
Yeah, you know what? It's a bit sensitive.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had that one before.
Okay.
You just got it. Can you
That's
hear us
Clearly,
now?
we're still
perfect
here
now.
in our little makeshift studio at the TAFE. So hopefully, maybe
The
when we come
camping.
back after Christmas, things will be starting to look like they're coming together.
That would be exciting. So we're going to discuss the year that's been and what we can expect in 2017. Lay it on us, Miss Lees. What have
Okay,
you
well,
got in your highlights?
2016, there was all these dire predictions of being a terrible kind of
There
year.
was, wasn't there?
There was going to be all kinds of terrible things that were going to happen, and I guess you'd sum up the year by saying it was a messy year.
Yeah,
in
some
a lot of
things
ways,
bad did happen.
but it was okay.
Yes,
It was
financially.
It was okay. We're just talking about financial. So from a
Yes.
financial,
Yes.
economic, political perspective. So it's probably what's more significant is what didn't happen, I suppose, is what makes it significant. So the global economy didn't plunge into deflation. The US Fed didn't blindly raise interest rates. Commodity prices did not continue to tumble. The Brexit vote didn't
Didn't break
plunge the
everything.
world into
Yeah.
an economic meltdown. The election of Donald Trump, I mean, as soon as we heard that, we all thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Trump will get him.
world is over.
But we've just kept spinning around and it actually looked like it stimulated growth now. And then, of course, tensions in the South China Sea, which we expected could flare up and cause all sorts of things, didn't happen either. So overall, a lot of things that could have happened that didn't. Overall, though, it was about a 3% growth globally, which is good news. There's fading deflation fears as the year went on. We thought we were going to go into a deflation spiral, but it seems to have gone the other way now. Commodity prices have come back, so after a big fall from commodity prices, they seem to be bouncing back. And the other interesting thing in politics is it's turned populist. So, you know, we've had the Brexit vote, the election of Donald Trump, and perhaps even here in Australia, with the result, the number of votes for One Nation have suggested that there's a bit of a move away from globalisation to populist type policy. So that's quite significant too. That's happened during the year.
And do you think that's going to impact a lot in the financial
Yeah, well,
world?
it probably will, you know, and it's like a lot of these things, time will tell. But it's an interesting shift that's happening globally. So it's quite interesting. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out. In Australia, we've started off in a strong year, but we actually ended slow. So we actually had we went backwards in our economic growth for the September quarter.
I know there was a big panic.
Yes, yeah, and we've had
Media.
we're still trying to stimulate the Australian economy and had 2 cash rate cuts during the year. So that's brought our cash rate down to 1.5%. And there still tends to be a lot of risks around property in Sydney and Melbourne, although the growth seems to continue. So that's pretty much 2016.
Wow. So a very tumultuous year.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, but a lot of things didn't happen. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like all these fears are
Yeah.
there and the world just keeps turning, doesn't it? Yeah.
So there's a message in that, isn't there?
Yeah, don't panic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Absolutely.
panic.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what about what can we expect to see in 2017, do you think, in your predictions?
Yeah, 2017.
Because we're going to hold you to this, Rob.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right,
We're
we
recording
will-
this and we'll play it again at the end of 2017 and see how
play
good you
it,
were.
We'll play it back in 12 months' time.
Yes.
You know, like what economists seem to be saying is looking better overall. Like there's a lot of noise, a lot of stuff out there, but generally we're expecting a lot of, we're going to turn around and there's going to be a lot more global growth. So they're predicting global growth to continue at about 3%. About 2% in advanced countries, about 6% in China. China's kind of stabilising in a lot of ways. So,
Wow, okay.
So look,
What do you think
that's
that's contributing
good.
to? Because they
I
realised what
think
was happening?
they've still got growth, but there was massive growth, and now it's slowed down.
Yeah.
It's a little more stable.
You
Yeah.
can't kind of sustain that growth.
It's unsustainable, and we've always been concerned about a hard landing for China, and they didn't have the hard landing, and we hope that they still won't be a
Yes.
hard landing when they, if or when they crash. We don't really know. For Australia, it's trying to rebalance away from the massive mining boom. So we're starting to do that, and other industries are starting to grow. So We're looking for growth in our retail industry, so we've got to spend up big for Christmas and do our part for the Australian economy. Those sort of things. Commodity prices are rebounding. The big concern for Australia, of course, is that we're still in this negative economic growth for the September quarter. Is expected to go up. But if we don't reach our inflation targets, they're still concerned that there'll be another rate cut, although we'll get to that in a moment because there's a lot of different views about that. But that's sort of more of an overview, I guess.
So where do you think interest rates are heading?
Okay, a lot of controversy.
Isn't there?
And there was a lot of articles, in the broker magazines. I've got a bunch of copies here, and then what I read on the weekend as well. And, a lot of economists are saying, that's it, we've bottomed out.
Are they?
Well, it remains to be seen. But what we've seen is interest rate rises from a lot of the banks. So the banks are starting to rise their interest rates, particularly fixed rates. So the bill swap rate, which determines fixed interest rates, has gone up. So the cost of funding's gone up. So the banks are starting to put up their fixed rates, which generally is because they're seeing rate rises in the future. So all those sorts of things tend to indicate that that we've gone as low as it can go. Although other economists like Shane Oliver thinks that there's still more room for a rate cut. And so he tends to think, well, it depends really on whether we reach our inflation targets. It could very well be that the Reserve Bank will need to stimulate the Australian economy. And probably his argument's more about the fact that the banks have independently raised the rates.
Yeah.
And this is what I've predicted for a while. So you can hold me to it. Let's see how it plays out. I'm actually at odds with the Mortgage Choice CEO on this, so I'm going to really stick my neck out here because he says that's it, end of the cycle. Well, I reckon that because the banks have raised their interest rates, that the Reserve Bank will actually reduce their rates about mid-year to offset those independent rate rises.
Really?
Because it's a new world, isn't it? And this is where, the levers that the RBA used to use, which was really defined around the cash rate, was a lever for the economy.
That's right.
And if you pulled it this way, you got that outcome. And if you went that way, you got that outcome.
Yep.
It doesn't happen anymore.
But we
because
won't
the banks,
ever see those those huge big interest rate rises, like 15 to 20%.
I don't think
Do you
so.
think so.
I don't think so. But there's still room to move. Like my self-managed super fund, interest rate went to 6.02 last week. So the cash rate might be only 1.5%. So there's still room to bring that down if we need to stimulate the economy. So, look, who knows? It's still a little uncertain, but it's not over
the other
yet.
thing to consider too, Andrea, I say this a lot to my clients around there's always this panic about, the interest rates getting back up into the teens and that kind of thing. Like it wasn't that long ago that we saw them in the high nines and our mortgages were much higher when we're paying 9% interest as opposed to when, back in the 80s when they were paying, or 80s, 90s when they were paying, 15, 16%. They still had mortgages at 50, 60,000. We had mortgages at 300, 400,000 and paying 9%. So, we've had our own hurt. It's too close that people don't see it. They kind of revert back to that hurt. But it's not that hard that we may see that again.
It's probably unlikely because of the sort of way that it's monitored these days. That like when we're talking about 16, 17, 18%, that sort of thing. And in
I
fact,
don't think anyone could afford that.
Well, that would destroy
not
us.
in current prices and current.
That would destroy us. So it would. But it just still seems that low interest rate environment's going to continue for some time. But that doesn't rule out a rate rise next year.
Yeah. Watch
We
this
heard it
space.
here first with Rob Lees from Mortgage Choice.
Thank you so much, Rob.
In
So
Braxton and Penrith. Thanks, Rob.
if we go ahead with our Christmas special next week, you will be here.
I'll be here. Yes, I'll be
Which
here.
is
Yeah.
fantastic. It might be you and I singing a bit of Jingle Bells at this rate.
No, I said I'll come, so I'm happy to come. I've got it blocked out.
But thank you so much for joining us again, and thank you so much for all your contribution throughout the year. You're always a mountain of information, and I'm sure
Very
our
much so.
listeners
Taught me a lot. Thank you.
watch out for your session. So thanks so
Thanks.
much.
My pleasure.
And you've
Very
agreed
welcome.
to come back next year.
I'll come back next year. Yeah, I enjoy it. I
We
find
enjoy
it
having
really
you.
stimulating, thinking about these things and talking about them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
excellent.
gives you a little bit of an opportunity to sit back too in your business and kind of.
Yeah, look, I find it really interesting,
Yeah.
kind of digging down and looking at these sorts of things.
I love listening to you. I think it saves me reading all those magazines. I just tune into Rob's section and I get the rundown.
I'll give a summary.
Yeah. And I'm such a layman. I'm learning all sorts of little terms. You guys talk your jargon. jargon sometimes. And sometimes I can keep up, other times I can't. But I've learnt lots.
That's
Thanks, Rob.
fantastic.
Have a wonderful Christmas.
You too.